maybe the second half of this year a lot better given the favorable macros. The one consensus view that is building on right now, however, is that oil marketing companies are likely to do better as their margins will improve. So let's take it straight to the management of Indian Oil Corporation. We do have A.S. Sani, who's the chairman of IOC, joining us now. Thanks a lot, Mr. Sani, for joining in. A lot that's been happening, right, in terms of tensions. And the first thing that gets impacted is crude and crude supplies. That seems to have eased so far. But despite that, could you tell us how much has India been importing from Iran? How has the volatility impacted the spread so far? How's your business likely to play out from here on?
First of all, there was practically no impact of crude supplies during this last 10-15 days that the war was there, war-like situation was there. We have not been affected. As India, I can say that we have not been affected, not only Indian Oil. That is one point. The second point, you asked that how much we import from Iran. No, we don't import anything from Iran. As far as my information goes, most of the Iran supplies go to China only. That is the second question. The third question is the price volatility. Yes, it went up in a single day by around $10 to $11 to a barrel also. But the good news is that as soon as the situation seemed to normalize, it has again come back to sub-70 levels. It is 67, 68, 65 levels, which are a comfort zone for us as Indian Oil and as Indian refiners, Indian OMCs.
So what's the crude breakup looking like right now, sir? Say for the industry and for your company. What's the sourcing mix?
Actually, it is a dynamic thing. You will understand it. But the question that you are asking with reference to Middle East, around 40% of my crude are coming from Middle East sources, and balance 60% is coming from all other sources, including Russia, including Western African countries, including the Latin American countries, and other sources, maybe some of it from US and Canada also, and other sources. So it is a mixed batch. Today, India per se and Indian Oil is importing crude from at least 38 to 40 countries. So it is a very well spread layout wherein we are not depending, or we are not putting all our eggs in a single basket. So we have a pretty spread out.
All right, Mr. Saini, if you could tell us what are the current petrol and diesel cracks? And if you compare it, say, with 3 months ago or 6 months ago, has there been a big swing out there?
Volatility, yes, of course. When these disturbing situations were there, it affected the gas oil, that is the diesel cracks more because a lot of gas oil comes out of Middle East and it goes into other geographies. So there was a concern on gas oil availability for other parts of the world, not for India, but for other parts of the world. So it affected in a slight jump in the gas oil cracks. Gasoline cracks, the MS cracks were more or less went unaffected, and they are the same as they were, like more or less in the same range as they were maybe 3 months back, or maybe say before war. So we can talk of before war and after war. Gas oil, yes, it jumped. Now it is getting somewhat subsided, but not totally where they were before the war. But gas oil, but the gasoline MS is more or less intact.
Right. I understand that qualitatively, sir, but if you could give us some numbers on that. What would the number of those cracks be? What levels are they at?
Around $7 to $8 for gasoline and around $12, $13 for gas oil.
Okay. Sir, everyone's been talking about the new green energy push. What kind of capex from Indian Oil will go into green energy?
Capex, it is a long-term strategy that we have. We have a very laid out strategic plan going forward up to 2046, wherein we have an ambition of becoming net zero in our scope 1 and scope 2 emissions. And this plan of next 20 years, it has a layout of at least 3 lakh crores total investments. These 3 lakh crores investment is spread out over the next 15-20 years, which will go into the green energy initiatives. But at the same time, I would like to mention that all these investments that we are going to place in action in next 15-20 years will be based on the returns, because we see green energy, or we see the drive towards net zero as an initiative for increasing the profitability. It is not that we are just going to spend money. We are not going to spend money without the returns, because when we go for renewables, it gives me good returns. We expect to give good returns. Then we are going for green hydrogen. We expect that ecosystem will be developed, and then we will earn money out of it. Similarly, when we go into biogas or bioethanol or those things, we invest money into it with solid returns expectation.
Well, sir, you have a lot of expansions coming up, all across the country. Panipat, you have in Gujarat as well. Where do you expect, the one to come through as well, the Baruni? If you could give us some details with regard to your expansions.
My expansions are going to come on stream mostly towards the end of this financial year, maybe December 25 or by March 26. Most of them will be in very advanced stages of commissioning during this time period. That is one point taken care, and that will increase my refining capacities by around 20%. Where I stand at around 80 million tons, along with my subsidiary, that is CPCL, that will go to almost 100 million tons per annum capacity. So that is one thing. The other thing that you about the battery, in battery, first of all, we are in the value chain wherein it comes for EV charging stations. So we have, at least Indian Oil has around 14,000 EV charging stations spread all across the length and breadth of the country. That is one part of it. The second part is we are into battery swapping business. The battery swapping business, it comes in a JV with Sun Mobility. It is by the name of Indofast, and this in 3 or 4 geographies in India, around 1,000 battery swapping stations are already operational, and they are doing good business. They are. This is the play where we want to focus more at this point of time. Battery manufacturing, we are in talks with people. We are in talks for technology transfer with people. If that happens, we might go into the battery manufacturing area also.
Sani, the one standing issue that's been the LPG compensation with the government. Have you been in talks with the government for any sort of under-recoveries that we saw in FY25 for LPG?
Yes, we are in very positive talks. We have been given to understand that a big portion of it might come to us, and we are pretty confident of amply and adequately compensated for whatever is due for us.
Could you give us a sense of what timeline could this be and what the quantum of this could be?
No, timelines I can't assure, and I can't assure about the quantum also, but I have been given that they are considering our demands, and they are very much aware that it is all linked with what capex I have to do, how I am growing in my businesses, how I have to invest more and more into greener solutions and sustainable energy sources. So the capex is needed to be done. So that criteria is there in everybody's decision-making matrix.
All right, so one last final question before we let you go. Give us an update on the refinery with CPCL, the Nagapattinam refinery. Will that also come up and give you that 100 million metric ton target that you have spoken about in the past?
The Nagapattinam refinery is, we have gone back on the drawing board because the viability of that refinery was not becoming very good. So now we have gone back on the drawing board, and we are putting into more and more petrochemicals into it. So it might change the financial outlay, but it will be more of a petrochemical plant now going forward instead of a pure refinery play. So we are reconsidering our configuration, and again we will go back to our board for taking approval for that, and then move forward.
All right, in that case, that will be an important one to track going forward when it comes to Nagapattinam. But more importantly, we'll watch out for, your cracks as well as margins going forward, along with volumes. And if at all there is any sort of recoveries coming in from the LPG under recoveries from the government, at what time, what quantum. Thank you so much, sir, for joining in and giving us your view on the company and the industry going forward. With that, we'll take a short break, but just